Hi there and welcome to Good Enough Scenery. Today we're going to be making a corner ruin out of a single bit of playmat foam that is good enough for your wargaming board. And once you've made one, you can make one, or you can make a couple, or you can even make one that's got stairs and an archway. You can use this technique to make a straight wall, or even a little corner. So let's get on and make some good enough scenery.
So we start off with this. This is playmat foam. There's a link in the description for buying a whole pack of these. They're nice and cheap. And so to start off with, we're just going to cut off all of these tabs. Do not throw them away because we will be using them later on. So what you need for this is a sharp knife, and I just go over the same spot 3 or 4 times and then it just comes off. It's not difficult to cut through. You could cut through it in one go, but a few times. And that's it done. This is going to be used for the base and for the walls itself. So we're going to cut out a shape for the base. So this is going to be a corner piece. The walls are going to be something along the lines of that. So we'll cut out a base which is something along the lines of that. And when we're going to cut it out, we're going to put our knife in and we're going to cut in at an angle. We're not going to cut straight down, we're going to cut at an angle to create a kind of slope off the bottom of this. This blunts knives pretty quickly. So we've got our edge cut. You could of course base it on something like this. This is 2mm MDF, which I used for my river video, for my modular river tiles. So there's a link to the video there and a link in the description for buying these. But I wanted to show you how you can make a bit of scenery just out of one piece of foam. So that's what I'm doing with this. But you can already see it's beginning to take shape already. Next up, we're going to cut strips of this. So we're just literally going to be cutting like centimetre strips of this for making the walls. Now you might ask, well, if we're making a wall, why don't we cut it the shape of the wall out? The problem is that the other side of this isn't great, and it's very difficult to make this look anything like that. I've tried filling it and all sorts of different things. So the best thing is just to make sure that stuff is on the bottom and use strips of this. So eyeball a centimetre and just going to show you, try and get this close up on the camera, how that almost looks like brickwork, stonework already. That's why I love working with this stuff. So just cut a few of these, put a bead along here. Press it down, bead. Done. Now I'm going to build a window on this side. So for the window, we're going to just create a little gap like that to start with. Stick them down. For the next part up, we are going to cut just a slight, like a 45-degree angle. What I like to do is kind of measure where it's going to be ish and turn it around, keeping my finger on where I want to cut, and then just cut off at about a 45-degree angle. Something like that. Now you can actually use, even though I said this side should be down, because this is going to get covered up anyway, this can actually be up. So you've done both parts in one, slightly shorter. You can do bigger, taller windows if you want to, but I'm just doing a little one. Just a little archer to poke his head through and shoot an oncoming enemy. And then this bit here looks like it's perfect for on top. If you've got a bit that fits, don't mess around, just stick it on. Set this off at an angle. Now it's up to that height, I'm actually going to put a bit of floor here on top, and that's just going to be cut out of some of the remaining bit of tile here. Corner piece, going to cut a bit out of there, and I'm going to cut a shape out back here and just stick it on top. Cut a few small bits of wall for the top. And that is basic structure of our ruined corner thing.
So, why did I keep these?
These are going to be used for our rubble, so all we're going to do with these is just cut and tear and cut and tear, and we're going to just create, like, just do these with kind of, I don't know, 5 or 10. And there we have our pile of what's going to be rubble. So next up what we're going to do is start sticking these bits randomly down in places where rubble might have fallen, where rubble is going to have gathered in here, and all that's going to involve is just sticking it down with a glue gun. Okay, so I've stuck down the random bits of rubble. It's actually foam. We're going to paint it soon, but first I want to add some detail. So I am going to, I mean, you can do this beforehand, and arguably I should have done, but I didn't, so we'll do it like this. So I'm just going to create, I'm just scoring a line there. What to do is create a tiled look, and then the paint will make that show up a bit better. And I'm going to do the same, just kind of lightly scoring lines here on the bricks, so that there's more of a brick effect. Some tiling stuff in there, and I've done the brick. And that's just literally taking me a couple of minutes just scoring some lines. You join me at the dirty bit of cardboard. So I'm just mixing up some black and white together to make I'm going for a darkish grey. I'm just using a makeup brush for quick coverage, and I'm just going to smother the whole thing. So that's taken me all of, I don't know, 2 minutes just to go over it quickly. Just a bit. Back at the dirty bit of cardboard for some kind of dry brushing, not exactly dry brushing. If I hold it close, you can see it's still wet in a couple of places, but it doesn't matter the white that you're applying into a grey. But let me just kind of show you what I mean. So we're just kind of going at an angle. We're not trying to paint this exactly. We are just trying to brush over it and see what. We're not trying to hit all of the details. We want to pick up the higher levels. So that's why it's kind of like dry brushing. Flicks rather than strokes. I'm just trying to lighten it up. I think that begins to look a bit more like stonework. We don't want an even colour on it at all. We want to have these different tones coming out on all of the walls, and I'm going to do that over this rubble as well. Trying to get the same sort of colour across. Trying to get some consistency, but we're not being too precious about it. And with the floor, I've decided I'd like that to actually be grey, so I'm picking up some of this this grey, and I'm actually going to just paint this on so it comes out as more consistent. And we can see, hopefully as I'm painting it, that tile effect really starts to come out now. Okay, so that's it. It is painted, rubble's done. Like areas like here, it doesn't matter, that's going to get flocked. That's what I love about this sort of thing. You don't have to be neat. There you go. It's starting to look like a ruined thing rather than some foam stuck together. So in here I've got a mix of PVA, some white paint, some black paint, some of the grey before, and for this I'm going to add, this is coffee grounds. If you saw my river tile video, you've seen what this, I use this for earth. We also use for other scenery bits. So I've put a few more scoops in. I can't give you the recipe because basically I just chuck it in there until this is kind of getting to the point where it's nearly like a paste. It's very kind of thick and lumpy, and that's what we want. Areas here. Coffee grounds from my local coffee shop. So just apply this. Just kind of make it look all kind of gritty. So hopefully you can see now that I've added that. It's added some real kind of texture to those rubbly areas. What's good about the fact that we've used the mix with this paint and PVA and coffee grounds is because it's got PVA in it, you don't actually have to wait to flock the bits. We're going to maybe do some dry brushing, pick out some details, pick out some colours and stuff a bit later on. But the bits that we know we're going to just want to be flocked, I really like this coarse stuff. I think this kind of bit under the window where kind of more water might have gathered would be good. As I've said in previous videos, I am not the best at flocking, and maybe a lighter one, but just going to add some flock to sprinkle different colours over, helps to bring different things out, and then once it's actually dry, we will do some add some more details in. Getting towards the end here, I think it's looking all right. Could be looking a bit better, which is where this bit of dry brushing is going to come into it. So this is a case of just loading up the brush, getting the excess off until nearly nothing left on it, and then just going over it. It might not seem like there's anything happening at all because it's going on so lightly, but with enough repetitions, you can get on the edge of the rubble there to bring out those edges. You can see that edge coming up now, hopefully. Very nearly finished. Just want to add in a few more details, which may go unnoticed, but it's the sort of thing that it's nice to do. So if you watch my river tile video, you may know what's coming up here. I'm going to do a little bit of dry brushing with this Uruk flesh colour. It's going to be very lightly over these kind of areas, just going over, and then the raised parts just start to pick up the green. Looking at it when it's on the table, you probably wouldn't notice, but it's up to you whether you want to add in these details or not. Okay, so I'm going to carry on doing that in a minute. Then the other thing that I'm going to do is I've got some Athonian Camoshade, which is a green wash. I'm just going to pick out some areas that I think might be a little grimy, and I'm just going to, in a few places, because this is a shade, so it's quite thin, so you can put it in a few places and it will run a little bit. Waste of time for other people, like, yeah, that really adds something. Just adds a little bit of something extra to the wall. Everyone's favourite Agrax Earthshade. In a similar way, I'm just going to add even more, I guess realism is the word I'm looking for. Just now I'm going to do that around this side as well, and I'll be back with the finished product.
So there you have it, a corner room made out of a bit of playmat foam, some paint, some shade, a little bit of flock, and it's a simple bit of scenery, easy to make, that's good enough for any wargaming board. Like, comment and subscribe.